down. We the talk around town. Alex threw the ball to Smokey for a touchdown. Ha. It's fourth down and you don't really want no more. We've been winning from the door. You should check the scoreboard. Ha. Check the scoreboard.
Welcome back to the Scoreboard. We are in the Divisional Round. 3 more weeks of NFL football left. And we had some surprises, some pleasant surprises, I would say, in my personal opinion, in the wild card round. We'll talk about those, and we'll get into the picks here for this week. Smokey, how are you doing?
Oh, I am good. It was a great week, and I am better than Eagles fans right now. I tried to tell everyone this was going to happen, but the Eagles fans just thought, no, it's been a fluke. The end of the year was a fluke. We're not on a downward spiral or anything. And then you go out and get mollywopped by the Bucs, who a lot of people would say was the worst team in the playoffs. And here you are, and it's looking really dim. And a few of these teams that lost, the cities are calling for the firing of their coaches right now. Considering these are mostly all coaches who have had winning records, and Pittsburgh is a big one. I got to say something about fans in Pittsburgh. They actually asked Coach Tomlin if he was going to be leaving after a season like that. Can you imagine? You've never had a losing season in your career as a coach. You just took a team with Mason Rudolph as the quarterback to the playoffs, and now they want you fired. That is totally
in the
ridiculous.
Hardest division in football.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That entire division was good this year. So
makes no sense.
Not at all. But, you know, they're not used to losing there in Pittsburgh. I mean, they're getting used to it over the past few seasons. I mean, I guess they still have hockey to look forward to, but
yes.
Yeah.
It's not like they were supposed to win, though. Like, the expectation, could the expectation really be to beat Buffalo at Buffalo? Like, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so at all. I mean, they were playing with house money at that point. They should be grateful that they got there, but, you know, the city of champions is what they call themselves, and they can't take not winning championships. So, it reminds me of Alabama fans, which is also another steel city. So, you know, that's how that works.
That's why.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
the Birmingham, you said the Stallions were the Maulers of the South in the USF.
Yeah, that's it. Those twin cities right there, you know.
Yeah, Pittsburgh and Birmingham.
Yeah.
That's true.
It.
All right. Okay, I don't know about that one, but yeah, Steelers. I mean, I don't think you can really complain too much about the season you've had. I mean, those when Pickett got hurt, like your chances of making the playoffs went down to like 5%. And somehow they managed to do it. Which it's been a few years now that we've predicted every time, hey, this might be the year that they finally have a losing record, right? And it never happens.
Never.
They always somehow just stick around and come out on top most games. So that in itself is commendable, but it wasn't enough to beat Buffalo and Josh Allen. This time, maybe they can build on it with Pickett. Me personally, of course, since you asked, I'm better than Cowboys fans. Of course, you had to pick the Eagles. I was going to pick whichever one you didn't pick. Have a pick of 3, really. I could have gone Rams, but the Rams at least lost in an honorable way. The Cowboys lost in a hilarious way, the Cowboys way, the way that they lose every year in the playoffs. Only this time they did it even earlier and in an even more embarrassing fashion. Because they were done. They were lost after the opening drive. That's what it felt like. Packers got the ball, they won the toss, elected to receive, went down and scored a touchdown, and then they scored 5 more touchdowns in 5 drives, and it was phenomenal. It was great. Pick 6, everything amazing. It was my favorite game of the weekend by far was the Packers Cowboys. That was thoroughly enjoyable. Eagles too, you know.
2 pick 6.
Yeah. Wait, was it 2? It was 1 pick 6 and 1 regular pick, right?
I thought it was 2.
For the Packers?
I'd have to go back and look. I thought it was 2.
I think the one wasn't. No, the one was not a pick 6. Like it was initially 1, but then they noticed he was down when he intercepted it.
Yeah,
that was the first
right.
one by J.R. Alexander. The second one was a true pick 6. So great stuff. My favorite game. So amazing. Thankful to the Packers for that. But unfortunately, their season will have to end this week, which brings us into this week. Before that, I have to ask tentatively, because I don't want to know the answer, but our predictions from last week.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't necessarily great for either one of us. One of us, it was a little better than the other one. We disagreed on 2 games. You had the Dolphins over the Chiefs. I had the Chiefs. That worked out for me. You went ahead and went with the Eagles after I was warning you not to do that, but you did it anyway. And I took the Bucks and got that one. Both of those were blowout wins, which, I mean, almost, except for the Rams and the Lions, all of these were blowout wins, considering a lot of people would look at the final score of the Packers and the Cowboys and say, well, that was kind of close. But no, that was all garbage time.
No. Legendary stat padding.
Yeah, they were absolutely beat to death before they started scoring. But yeah, since I got 2 on you last week, that total of 3 for me for the entire week, and 1 for you. That brings our overall total 166 for me and 165 for you.
All right, that's not good. That is not good, giving those up. Yeah, the Eagles, I don't know why. I don't even know why I picked the Eagles. I think they weren't even really favored all that much. Like, after what they did last 2 months, you should have expected them to lose to a mediocre team like the Bucks, and they certainly did. The Bucks played well. I'll have to give them that too. And yeah, Dolphins. I thought Kansas City would be more hampered on offense. They look better now. I guess. I don't know. There's no way justifying these picks retroactively given what the games are like. And the only reason that Kansas City wasn't a blowout or didn't look like a blowout is because they just kept kicking field goals. They couldn't score a touchdown, couldn't get it in the end zone. So otherwise, that could have been a 3-4 score game easily as well. Yeah, there in KC. But yeah, that's the way it went. Rams-Lions was the only close one and probably the best game in terms of offensive performance, at least the first half. There was no turnovers. Everyone, 2 quarterbacks that came in locked in, both a little bit beat up as well. And big revenge game, of course, was huge for Detroit. Obviously, the best football moment in several decades. Finally getting a home playoff game, and not just one, they're getting 2. Another home playoff game in Detroit, which is amazing. It's crazy to see. So I'm definitely happy for the Lions in that sense, and I'm also, of course, glad the Rams are, because I don't like the Rams all that much. But that's all besides the point. Now, we have this game we play, and it's called Guess the Biggest Spread. Do it every week. I don't know if it's getting easier or harder for you to guess the biggest spread the less games we have, because now it's only 4 games left. During the regular season, there's 16 games, but some of them were very lopsided. This time, only the best teams are left, but there's fewer games to pick from. So who do you think, first of all, is the biggest spread this week, and do you find it getting harder or easier?
Oh, it is absolutely getting harder. I mean, not only because it's the playoffs and these teams should be the best of the best, but all of these teams performed phenomenally on their last outing. So it's really tough. Even the ones that you look at and say, okay, in the middle of the year or the first part of the year, we would say this would be a giant spread. Considering how these teams played last week and the week before, it's really hard to say that. So I don't think there should be any giant spreads in this. But looking at it, I would say the Lions and the Bucks are probably pretty close. The Chiefs and the Bills, that's always a really tough battle. And it's in Buffalo. That's probably a really close one. The other 2, there should be somewhat of a spread, because it's almost like those 2 teams are playing with house money, meaning the Texans and the Packers, against the Ravens and the 49ers, which are the number 1 and the number 2 seed in the entire league. So I'm guessing it's one of those. Now, the question is, do I want to go with the 49ers over the Packers or the Ravens over the Texans? I'm going to say, considering the Ravens have pretty much beat the crap out of everybody they've played in the second half of the season, it has to be the Ravens over the Texans. The Texans are showing out. They're doing really well, but you feel like their streak is going to come to an end at some point, so I'll go with the Ravens.
Well, it's the Niners by half a point difference. Niners 9.5 point favorites at home. Ravens are 9 point favorites at home. I think the difference maker is probably the seeding, because the Texans were technically supposed to be the favorites in the first round, right? They were the seeded team. They were the home team. So they're the 4th seed playing at the 1, which is what you would expect to happen if every favorite wins. But the Packers were the 7th seed. They just snuck into the playoffs. A lot of people didn't think they were a playoff team, me included, more or less. But then they played against the fraudulent Cowboys, and they got a win out of it. And now they're the 7th seed heading to the 1. I think that's probably what makes the difference. That's just my logic, though.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Yeah. I don't know, but I mean, a half a point. So yeah, I was pretty much on. They and it may be betting. Betting leading up to the game could swing that in either direction, being that close.
Oh yeah, for sure. It could easily happen. Easily happen. Let's dive into the games because both of these 1 seeds are actually playing on Saturday, so they're playing before the other two. And we're starting off with the AFC, the first divisional round game here: Texans at Ravens.
Yeah, I love the way the Texans are playing, but they are an extremely young team with a new head coach in D'Amico Ryans, and that defense is actually looking really good. I mean, look what they did to Joe Flacco and the Browns, and the Browns were on a super hot streak. I mean, I believe they won out for the rest of the season with Joe Flacco. So, well, I guess they lost their last one because they were replacing starters or whatever, but here we are. The Ravens are coming off of their bye, which you expect them to be rested. But the problem is, the past 3 times maybe that the Ravens were actually in the playoffs, they had that bye. I think 2 of them, they came back and played the Titans, the division rivals of the Texans, and then they lost because they lost something in resting their starters in the final week and then taking the bye and then coming back to play. They just didn't have it anymore. And at least one of those seasons, what was it, 2018, that was the best team in the entire league, and Lamar Jackson was on the MVP season. So it doesn't work out for them in the playoffs like that. And being that this is the same division, I do get worried about that. But overall, I mean, it's a 9-point spread, 9.5 for the other one. Being a 9-point spread, it would really be foolish to take the young team over the extremely experienced team in this situation, but I do have doubts about it. I believe this could be a much closer than that spread game, but I will be sticking with the Ravens at home.
Yeah, I'll take them as well. Thing is, CJ Stroud, Texans offense, phenomenal breakout year, great all around for the organization. Stroud and this offense, they have not played this kind of defense all year, like not even close. The Ravens defense, Ravens pass defense is something else. It's something that you do not get to see in the AFC South at all, and not even close. And the Ravens, the Texans have not had to deal with this kind of thing. So to me, this is probably the game where CJ Stroud hits his limits as a rookie. It was still a phenomenal season and worthy of Offensive Rookie of the Year and an award, and the future is looking bright for the franchise. But I think this secondary is going to be just a step too much for him, given his level of experience. And I think the Ravens are going to cruise and win this in reasonably comfortable fashion. But you are also right. There seems to be like a playoff curse surrounding those Ravens, especially Lamar Jackson, because that surprising loss to Tennessee, and then last year he was hurt, and he's often dealt with injuries towards the end of the season. So for him, this is going to be a big step to get the monkey off his back finally, because he's got the accolades of being an MVP and all like huge contract franchise quarterback, but can he win big games and playoff games? That's still a question that needs to be answered, and a quarterback of his caliber and certainly his pay grade has to answer that question by winning against the Texans, and in fact by winning the championship this year. It doesn't matter if it's the Chiefs or Bills. I think if you're the 1 seed, you're kind of expected to win your conference title. Let's see if they can do it. I think they get past Houston, and next week we'll have a new debate about that, though. Packers and the Niners in the NFC.
Yeah, it's kind of the same situation, first year starting quarterback, even though he's not a rookie. He's been around a while. He's looking good, though. Jordan Love does look really good at times, and I've said this all season that he's shown flashes of being a great quarterback, but there's always those times where he just blows it also. Wasn't so much against the Cowboys. I want to say something about that game. Also, people have been screaming defense wins championships for probably 100 years. I don't think that's true in the NFL anymore. I think great offenses have surpassed great defenses in the NFL. It still works in college. You know, we see what Michigan, Alabama, Georgia does with really good defenses. They win championships. But these offenses are way too complex these days. And even the best ones like the Cowboys and the 49ers and the Browns, we've seen them all falter at times throughout the season and have horrible games because these offenses are just way too great and complex these days. But back to the Packers. Yeah, I mean, I can't really see myself picking the Packers here. As great a season as they had, I've heard the analysts so far now crowning Jordan Love like that's it. I mean, they've got their third great elite quarterback in a row. Packers always do this somehow, and here it is. And they may be right. I don't know yet because I still see the downside of Jordan Love, but he does look really good at times. Anyway, it's the 49ers. Hopefully Christian McCaffrey is healthy. They're playing at home, and we saw a home team actually has something to do with the winners. So I will be picking the 49ers at home.
Yeah, I'll also pick the Niners. Preserve my own sanity with winning this game. At this point, it would be definitely be a disappointment to get kicked out this early. So absolutely, Niners have to justify their position as favorites and win this one. This is the 1 seed against the 7 seed, and I'll give the Packers credit against the Cowboys. Of course, that was the best showing they've had all year. Aaron Jones, Romeo Doubs had a breakout game, and so did Jordan Love. So everyone looked great. That defense is a little bit banged up injury-wise, but the offense is firing, and it's going to be a challenge for the Niners. Like, this is not the usual, hey, we got lucky, we get a bye week, and then we get the 7th seed kind of free spot in the championship situation. This is going to be a challenge, and in a way, I'm glad that they beat the Cowboys so resoundingly, because what the mistake the Cowboys made is they looked past the Packers, right? They looked them like, okay, this is the 7th seed. The 7th seed has never won a playoff game in NFL history. They look past them. They're looking towards the divisional round, and then they got rolled over. Niners, after seeing that, will not look past the Packers. They'll take them seriously and prepare for them and play them at their full strength. And because they do that, they are going to win the game. But as for Jordan Love, much better season and playoff performance than I thought it was possible for him to have. But it really does look like having those 3 years sitting behind, the best player in franchise history, really, he's made the most of it. And whether he's really elite and a franchise quarterback and all that is going to be something that's going to be determined next year, probably during the next season and the year thereafter. If he can keep this up, absolutely, he's a starter and he's going to be there for a while. It was his best game. Expect him to come down to earth now, playing a tougher defense, a team that's more prepared for them, and overall also a much more competitive offense on the other side that's not just going to gift them 3 points and 3 and outs left and right. Because I don't know if you knew, but second team All-Pro is not good enough to beat the Packers in the playoffs, apparently. Apparently not good enough.
No.
Yeah, Dak Prescott can't do it. It takes a better quarterback than that to beat the Packers. And we'll see that this Saturday, by the way. It's Santa Clara. So yes, I have faith in the Niners getting this one done. Another game in the NFC starting on Sunday kickoff. We have 2 games. We have the maybe the battle of the, hard to call the Lions underdogs given the regular season they had, but the 2 teams maybe no one would have put in the playoffs preseason. Bucs and Lions.
It's amazing how a performance like this in the playoffs actually changes the opinions of the analysts out there. Much like Jordan Love, I hear analysts talking about how this is the Bucs quarterback for the next decade or so. The Jekyll and Hyde Baker Mayfield. Like, they are dead set. Like, it's recency bias, they are dead set that this is the guy. I mean, they've definitely found him. But we've seen him blow it and be phenomenal. I think when Baker Mayfield is on, this team can go toe-to-toe with pretty much anyone. There's a few teams out there, like the Ravens, the 49ers, the Bills, the Chiefs. Like, I don't think they can beat those teams, even when he's on. But he can keep up with some of those teams when he's doing good. But he's going to blow it at some point. I don't have faith on him to just ride this all the way to the Super Bowl like the fans in Tampa Bay do. It's Baker Mayfield. We've seen this his entire career. He's going to blow it at some point. On the other side, you mentioned earlier that the Lions are so happy. What did they say? It hasn't been since 92 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it was like 50 years before that when they got farther than that. So, yeah, the Lions are back, I guess. I mean, I don't even know if you can say the Lions are back because they've never been really good. This is the best team probably the Lions have ever seen in their entire history. And it's amazing to see. You know, Jared Goff looks like he's legit. I mean, he's probably their quarterback for the next decade just because he got them this far. The fans would try to form a lynch mob if they tried to replace Jared Goff at this point. And they booed Matt Stafford, man. That was crazy. The prodigal son comes home, and you're going to boo the boy. You know, but, you know, we got our new guy now, so forget Matthew Stafford. That was a great game, and the Lions are on a heater. I think they're going to ride this momentum, and I think the bad Bucs are going to show up here, especially not being at home. I'm taking the Lions at home.
I'm going to take a middle ground here. I'm going to say there's no bad Bucs, no Baker Mayfield that blows it. I think he's going to have a fine game. They're going to have a fine game. I think they're just all around the worst team. And they're going to lose in an honorable way like the Rams did, just being the all-around worst team at Detroit. Lions win. I'm taking the Lions to win. The thing with quarterbacks like Baker or Jordan Love, as you mentioned, is it's not just that, you know, they have a good season or breakout season, but the names they replaced. That's the big thing. If you replace Tom Brady and there's no drop off from one year to another, that's recognition. If you replace Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay and there's no noticeable drop off from one year to the next, that it means more than if they were just freshly drafted or just replaced a nobody, right? Both of those teams were expected to drop several wins and miss the playoffs because they had lost their Hall of Fame quarterbacks, but they didn't. So they found guys to replace them and plug them in, and somehow it worked out for them. And I think that's a big part of it. But I will take the Lions. I think the Bucs journey comes to an end. I won't, as a Niners fan, I won't complain if the Bucs somehow make this happen, because I think the Lions are the biggest threat by far to the Niners winning another championship. But I think I'm also rooting for the Lions in a way. As a Niners fan, I'm rooting for the Bucs because I'd rather play them than the Lions. But as a person, I'm rooting for the Lions because have they ever been to an NFC championship? I know they haven't. They've never won it. Definitely, no, I don't know if they've ever been to one. So this win could already be like, this could be the best they've ever done. Yeah, and I kind of root. You kind of root for them to get that done, and they definitely the best chance to do it. I am taking the Lions. I think they round off the best season in franchise history with a championship spot. Chiefs and the Bills for, as you have predicted, by far the closest spread game of the weekend.
All right, and a quick little Google search. I'm seeing the 1957 Lions. Oh wait, okay, 1991 NFC Championship. Okay, so they did make it in '91.
Oh, and okay. They did.
They actually went all the way to the championship in '57.
Wow.
That was before the Super Bowl era, of course. But
yeah.
But yeah, the Chiefs and the Bills, man. This is the classic matchup. These two are the 1 and 2 quarterback in the league. Regardless of who's on a hot streak for a certain season, these are the mainstays. And it feels like we get this matchup every single season, if not once, twice in a season, because this matchup makes money for the NFL. These two quarterbacks are the superstars and the faces of the NFL at this time. Chiefs have won a couple Super Bowls. They've got the championship. The Bills have not. They need this one. And I believe this might be the first time this playoff matchup has happened in Buffalo, because it's usually in Kansas City. Almost said San Francisco. But yeah, it's usually Mahomes at his home team, because that's always the number 1 seed in the AFC. But here we are at Buffalo. And with temperature, I guess the temperatures won't make as big of a difference as it did last week. But then again, the Steelers are used to playing in the cold also. It's not like the Dolphins going up there or whatever and playing in the snow. Like, you see how much it affected them. But I guess the Chiefs being in Kansas City, they're used to the cold also, so that shouldn't play too much. But it's at home. The Bills got the rally cry from the fans, and they were all into it, throwing snowballs at the Steelers and everything. They affected that game one way or another, regardless of if Mason Rudolph was the quarterback. Man, I think this is the first time it happens. I believe it's the first time. Yeah. The Chiefs have always won this playoff matchup as far back as I can remember.
In the playoffs, yeah. The Bills just won the last one.
Yeah. In the season, yeah.
Yeah, in Kansas City, too.
It's going to happen again. I think this is it. I think the Chiefs rallied back for that one, but they've been too far up and down this season. I think the Bills are on a hot streak after their bumpy start, but here they are. They're playing much better. They're peaking at the right time. I am taking the Bills at home.
Now, there's a lot of things here that could happen that would make this the best season in NFL history by far, just in general. Of course, the Niners being great and getting the 1 seed has already done good for it. Brock Purdy could still outside chance win MVP, which would contribute. Bill Belichick's gone out of New England, so that dynasty is officially dead and over as the last piece falls. One of the most annoying pair of brothers to ever be in the NFL has already retired as of today. If the Chiefs lose this one and lose badly, I sincerely hope that brother number 2 also joins his brother in the podcasting booth and never steps onto an NFL field again. Would round out one of the most satisfying NFL postseason, off-season sort of situations of all time by far. Be great. I'd love it. Love to see it. Also, it was the first season in which Tom Brady did not play that I've ever seen. That's also one thing. Although I'm rooting for the Bills in this one. I always liked the Chiefs, right? I've always liked it. I've always liked Mahomes, always liked Andy Reid. This season, this team has been so unlikable, and I have no idea why. I was so glad they won last year and beat the Eagles. I was happy for them celebrating. They are turning. It feels like they're turning into the Patriots, like behavioral wise. They're winning too many games and it's getting to them. Every time they're complaining about everything. I mean, they've turned into such sore losers. It's awful. It's terrible. And the Eagles did the exact same thing. So both of these teams have turned, like the Eagles were the heroes. Remember when they beat New England in the Super Bowl? The whole nation loved the Eagles, and now no one can stand them anymore. And the similar development is true for the Chiefs as well. You know, you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Even Mahomes and Andy Reid, who are usually such likable characters, have turned pretty sour this season, and I sincerely hope they can fix it, because I want to like the Chiefs. They can be a likable team, but this year it's very, very hard to like the Chiefs, given how they've been acting. So I'm rooting for the Bills. I also think the Bills are the better team and they're going to win, but I have to make a political move here, because I'm a game behind. I'm actually 2 games behind in the playoff pick, right? I dropped 2 games against you last week. So I have to make up points. If we picked all the same, I only have 3 games left to make up 2 points, which is nearly impossible. So I have to find a disagreement with you, and since this is the lowest spread, I have to put it in here. So I will pick on paper, and on paper only, the Kansas City Chiefs to go into Buffalo and win. I don't really believe it, given how they've played the rest of the season, given how they've already matched up, and also that I kind of want Buffalo to win. And there is some pressure on Buffalo to win, by the way, because this is now entering, the 5th year of the McDermott-Allen sort of dynasty in Buffalo, which is already one of the most successful they've ever had. But the thing is, the Chiefs, since Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, have 5 trophies in the trophy case? Or even 6? No, 5. The Bills have 0. Since the Allen McDermott era. So you have to wonder, those teams are supposed to be rivals. They're supposed to be, they're competing for a championship every year. It's time to put some silverware behind it. And Buffalo has to give themselves that chance by going into Baltimore, or if they're lucky, even hosting Houston next week to finally win something. I think the Chiefs are probably at their most vulnerable. They have been in a few years, so they should get it done. Lock in the Chiefs for me for the, gamesmanship reasons, but I do also believe the Bills should win.
Yeah.
Which would leave us both with the same bracket.
Yes.
Bills at Ravens, and Lions at Niners. So 1 seed, 2 seed, 1 seed, and 3 seed.
Oh man, that's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah.
That's man. You said a lot there. The Kelsey brothers, and I do think Travis is leaving also at the end of this year.
I hope.
I said this in fantasy football rounds last offseason that when a player starts talking about retirement in the offseason, especially a tight end, he's going to have a bad season coming up. But it works for quarterbacks also. You see Tom Brady, he actually did retire and decided, no, I'm coming back for one more year. He had a terrible year. So tight ends and quarterbacks, once they start talking about retirement, they have really bad seasons coming up. And I foresaw that. And I did not draft anything of Travis Kelce this year. And that paid off because people were taking him in the first round of fantasy football drafts. He was not worth a 6th round pick this year. But, yeah, I do hope they both retire. And now that Tom Brady's gone, if Bill Belichick does not get a new gig, that would be awesome also, and we can be rid of the old dynasty, and maybe Patrick Mahomes can turn over a new leaf, and hopefully Andy Reid does not become the next Bill Belichick. I know they have displayed that throughout this season to where, like you were talking about, they've been complaining about calls and whatever when the refs doesn't give them their way, much like Tom Brady did for 20 years. If he doesn't get his way, he's going to complain to the refs, and then they're going to give him his way. I don't want to see that happen to Patrick Mahomes because I think he is a much better athlete and quarterback than Tom Brady was. Regardless of how great Tom Brady was, Patrick Mahomes is the better player. And there's a difference between being the best and being the greatest. Tom Brady was absolutely the greatest, just not the best QB ever. Mahomes could be that. Allen could be that. Who knows? We could be looking back a decade from now saying, well, Allen's got 3 to Patrick Mahomes' 2 Super Bowls. But either way, I love this matchup. I love that this is a classic matchup at this point in time, and this is the era of football that we're in. We're going to look back in a few decades and say, well, that was the Mahomes versus Allen era. And I am ready for this one, and I hope the Bills take it because they need a Super Bowl win. Probably be against your 49ers if that happens, because I would assume the 49ers can beat the Lions. We'll see. They've both had bad games this year. We'll see. But I'm assuming we get a Bills and 49ers Super Bowl this year. What do you think?
I'd love that because I like the Bills, right? So I wouldn't be too mad if the Bills won. Just like it was when the Chiefs played the Niners. At that point, I still really like the Chiefs, so I was happy for them to win it, and it would be the same with the Bills. But yeah, on the Chiefs thing, yeah, the Andy Reid being the new Belichick and the Mahomes being the new Brady, man, they're acting like it, and that's kind of why they have to lose here to kind of get back to to be humbled a little bit. I hope they lose in that sense, but yeah, they've become extremely unlikable. The way they act on the field and the way they've been popularized too much, they've become like the big thing, and now it kind of loses its touch in a way as well, right? The State Farm thing probably should have stopped last season. If Andy Reid should have stuck to cheeseburgers, and Travis Kelce is actually earning more money from shady pharmaceutical companies than he's earning from playing football, which is a whole different kind of problem. But yeah, the Chiefs, I don't know. Hard to like him this year. I hope they go back to being likable, but at the moment, that's unfortunately not the case.
Taylor
rooting for the Bills.
Taylor Swift didn't help either.
Yeah, it doesn't help the case. Does not help the case at all. And the NFL eating that up like crazy does not help the case.
Yeah, no.
So hopefully all of that's going to be gone soon. Luckily, those two, the Kelce brothers, only really started to get annoying towards the end of their career. So we don't have to put up with it for too long anyway, which is fine. They should go do their podcasts and soup commercials and whatnot. All cool with me. I don't care as long as I have to see it all the time.
Yeah.
You said the Allen versus Mahomes era. I'm looking forward to 10 years of Brock Purdy versus the AFC era, if I'm a Niners fan, because who else is a good young quarterback in the NFC? Jalen Hurts? I don't know after this season. Doubts, right?
Nah, I think it fizzles out.
Jordan Love not proven enough yet. Could be
Possibly.
Not proven enough.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott? Don't make me laugh.
No.
Jared Goff? I mean, Lions are good, but here's the kicker as well. time flies. Jared Goff is the oldest quarterback remaining.
That's crazy to think. He was just drafted in 2015.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the thing is, he's on the. I think he's 30, or how is he even over 30?
Oh, he has to be by now. I mean, was this his 9th season?
He's turning 30 this year.
Wow. Yeah.
Now he could still play another 8 years easily, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But he is the oldest quarterback in the playoffs remaining, which is incredible.
So
crazy to think.
If Purdy turns into Tom Brady.
Oh, you mean stays being Tom Brady?
Okay.
There's no more turning there.
Okay, I'll give you that.
If Purdy stays playing like Purdy has played this season.
Yeah, if he does that for a good 7-8 more years, then I mean, who is his rival? Maybe it is Jordan Love. I mean, they're
maybe it's Jordan Love. Maybe it's
close in age.
Future player to be drafted. Who knows? At the moment, the AFC has such a huge advantage in quarterbacks compared to the NFC, and it overall should just be the much more competitive conference, and kind of has been. A lot of the young superstars in the AFC, of course Mahomes and Allen don't really count as young anymore, but then you have Lamar, you now have CJ Stroud, you have Tua, you have Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow. They all play in the AFC, every one of them.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Trevor Lawrence. List goes on, right?
Very
Will
lopsided.
Levis potentially if he's good. So it's very, very lopsided. And in the NFC, what few quarterbacks you have that you would really consider good are probably aging. Matthew Stafford will not play forever, maybe a year or two at the level he's playing, and he's still taking beatings. Baker Mayfield, I don't think he'll ever transcend to become an elite quarterback. He might be a serviceable starter. Where are the Saints right now? Where are the Falcons right now? Those teams, they might have to start over with quarterbacks. So there's a lot of treading water going on in the NFC, which is the best thing I could ask for, I guess, because the Niners right now are at more than a 1 in 4 chance to win the Super Bowl, and they haven't even played a playoff game. Which just goes to show you how much of a cakewalk, allegedly, that the NFC really is compared to the AFC. Right, if you're Kansas City winning the Super Bowl, you have to go through Buffalo, Baltimore, and San Francisco. And if you're the Niners, you just have to go through Green Bay, potentially Detroit, and then one AFC team.
Dude, now that you put it that way, I would much rather be the 49ers right now, because any one of those other teams,
even though they match up terribly against Baltimore directly, and Baltimore is the favorite to win the AFC, the AFC is so much harder that the Niners have a higher odds of winning the Super Bowl than the Ravens. Because they have so much of a higher chance to get there in the first place.
Think about this. If the Texans and the Packers played right now, who do you think wins that game?
Both after that performance from last week. Man, that's a toughie, but probably I'd go Houston. Probably go Houston.
I think even Houston is a tough out at this point in time. I don't think this is going to be a cakewalk for the Ravens there.
No, it's not. You play 3 elite teams. Any AFC team plays 3 elite teams now.
Yeah. Man,
the Niners might not play an elite team and win the championship.
I'm going to say this right now, and I know a lot of people are going to hate it because of the man's past, but CJ is looking like Deshaun Watson right now. And I'm not meaning anything off the field, so nobody go crazy and say, he's
looking good.
Yeah.
He's looking good. That's true.
On the field, just on the field, the guy who took over looks a lot like the guy he took over for.
That is true. But also, Deshaun Watson on the field has not looked like that since his first 2 years.
Well, I think he got a good three seasons or so out of it.
Okay.
Hopefully CJ can do more than that, and get more than 3 seasons out of it. And who knows, Deshaun Watson might return to prominence at some point in time. I don't think Flacco's their next quarterback of the future. So
no, he's not gonna be there to stay. I think Watson definitely gets to take over that team. But for Watson, it's gonna be a big prove it year next year. You inherit a roster that, straight off the couch, Joe Flacco took to the playoffs. You better do something with that team. He's going to be expected to beat out Baltimore and Joe Burrow and the Steelers, whoever is going to be to win that division and win a playoff game. Otherwise, it's going to be disappointment because they are going to think the roster is definitely there for the Browns. And yeah, it is to a degree. They're good.
One more thing. I don't know if anyone's ever made this comparison. I'm sure somebody has, but Baker Mayfield might just be the next Ryan Fitzpatrick. Who also played for the Bucs because he played for everybody, of course.
Play for everybody.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to be a bit more than the next Fitzpatrick at this point because Fitzpatrick never really stayed with the team for a long time. I think Baker has that chance now with the Bucs. After this season, he's definitely earned a starting spot for next year, and if he can do again next year what he did this year, I think he might be around with the Bucs for another. I mean, I don't want to say 10 years, but potentially up to 10 years if he keeps this going, playing like this. Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's definitely gotten a lot better from when he entered the league, and that's mostly mental maturity, which was his biggest downside when he got drafted. And the reason why I clowned on the Browns so much for picking him, which I still insist was an awful pick. It's a terrible pick. But yeah, he's turned it around, which is not that common of a thing. Like he had every right to end up like Johnny Manziel, and he did not. He got it right. Yeah. He's doing it now. He's playing well. He's improving on the field and presumably off the field, because you can never be that person off the field and be good on the field. It just doesn't really work out unless you're like Lawrence Taylor or something.
Yeah, he did very much resemble Johnny Manziel in college, on and off the field. So that was a really good comparison, but Johnny Manziel just couldn't make it with the Browns there, and Baker Mayfield did. So he's got that over him, but I don't know. Like I feel like if he has another 9-8 season or something to that effect, and has a few stinkers like we saw him have this season, then they could be looking to replace him in the next draft.
Yeah, if he falls off again, and especially if the rest of the division rises, the Falcons get better, Saints get better. Knows what the Panthers are going to do, but if they they repeat what they did this year, but it's not close to making the playoffs anymore. Yeah, of course, that puts things in perspective, right? It's not like they had an overwhelmingly good regular season. They just about scraped in because the division was so bad. And there's other divisions where they would have finished third or fourth with that same record. So you always have to put it in perspective who you're playing. That's correct.
And I'll remind you that Ryan Fitzpatrick had a 10-win season with the Jets one year. I think that was 2015
there you go.
Or so. Yeah.
There you go. Maybe
made the playoffs.
Maybe he is that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's who Mayfield is. But I think he's still eyeing that starting spot for the long run.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what he wants. I would still like to see Kyle Trask start a game somewhere down the line, but
yeah, in the preseason you gotta see him.
Yeah, that might be all for Kyle Trask. Him and Mac Jones might just go in the reverse draft after this year.
Yeah, I'm excited for these playoffs. We've got 8 good teams left.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be a good week.
Yeah, especially those like the non-one seed games. You kind of feel like the one seeds have comparatively easy matchups, as they are supposed to, being the one seeds, but the other two are super tough, and especially Chiefs Bills should be an instant classic again if both teams can play like we know they can play.
Absolutely. That's why they put them in prime time on Sunday night.
Yeah, sure. They know exactly what's to be expected.
Over under on how many shots of Taylor Swift will get in that game. And it's, well, if she makes it out to Buffalo, I mean, this is not in Kansas City.
True, yeah, it's cold. Though it was also cold in Kansas City.
Yeah,
so it really does make a difference. But I don't know how many snowballs you want to get hit with, because Buffalo fans are different plaster.
They will not be afraid to throw a snowball at Taylor Swift.
No. if we get a, God forbid, a Chiefs Lions Super Bowl.
Oh wow.
Do we just get like a halftime show that consists of just Taylor Swift and Eminem? 20 straight 20-minute rap battle.
Oh, well, I know who
about their teams.
I know who would win that.
Okay, yeah, who would win the rap battle? Yeah, that's fair. That's true.
I thought
he was prominently represented at the Lions game as well.
Yeah, he was. So was Big Sean for some reason. And if you know anything about hip hop, Big Sean is not that prominent. Like, yeah, he's a decent rapper from Detroit, but there's a lot of other rappers from Detroit who are way more famous than Big Sean. So I mean, even if they threw Kid Rock up there,
Right, yeah, that would be another one. I said during the game, I said, like, they had Eminem doing the whole, like, intro for the team and everything. I was like, is that the only famous person from Detroit?
Yeah.
It seems like it, but yeah, Kid Rock, yeah.
I mean, absolutely the biggest. I mean, he's one of the biggest selling artists of all time. Like, 250 million albums sold, whatever it is. So. Hey, but the Chiefs have Tech 9, so, it's like a lower budget Eminem. And they love to throw Tech 9 up there. And I think he does their intro music many times, at least. But,
the Niners don't have one, I think.
No, you guys need one. Like,
I don't think we do. I'd prefer not to have one. After seeing what happened to the Chiefs, and if you remember from like the whole drama with the Falcons and MC Hammer back in the day,
yeah.
It doesn't bode well. It does not bode well for teams usually.
Yeah.
To have that much of drama. Eminem at least was kind of like on the down low, and he's also being a man of the people by like being out in the stands, Yeah. Of course, he's got his like bodyguards around, but at least he's not like sitting in the top lounge sipping champagne. He's
Yeah, that's how you do it. You gotta
exactly
be a man.
Classic. That's Detroit. That's Detroit fashion. You can't sit in the lounge.
No, not at all.
In Detroit, you can't do that. It's not a luxury. It's not a luxury situation.
Hey, in Atlanta, we have a guy named Pastor Troy, which most of the world probably doesn't know, but that's kind of our rapper for the team. He was huge in Atlanta back in the day, and he is prominently featured at Falcons games and Bulldogs games all the time, but. Had a couple hits, but definitely no Eminem.
Man, a lot of people could make their own little mini game out of it if like every team had to have like a celebrity endorsement, kind of a celebrity mascot in a way,
Yeah. I'm sure most teams do, But I don't catch it because I always watch Red Zone. I don't catch the openings of these games a lot. So,
but in the playoffs, there's no red zone, so you see like all
yes,
of it.
absolutely.
Yeah. But if we get Lions and Chiefs, then like in the Super Bowl, I'd probably more shots of the VIP lounges than of the game itself.
Yeah, there definitely will be.
Yeah. But they should, if they do, they have to sit those two next to each other as well.
Oh yeah, they might
mandatory.
Put her next to Joe Montana.
Oh yeah, it's a good idea too. That's a good idea. If the Niners play the Chiefs, he has to be there because he played for both of them, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be very important.
Yeah.
Plus, he's the best Super Bowl quarterback of all time.
By record, yes. I mean,
yeah, should be there.
Not the quantity of Brady, but he did.
Not the quantity, but also not the quantity of interceptions.
Yeah, I mean that's true.
Won them all, perfect. Yeah. Not a single pick, not one.
Yeah, that's it. It was a different kind of football in those days also.
Yeah, he got hit in the head too.
Yeah, exactly. That was when you could flatline a quarterback and they're just like, good play.
Like the kind of roughings they're calling nowadays, like in the 80s, they took those in practice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and Tom Brady's the reason why you're not allowed to touch quarterbacks these days. And Josh Allen...
And he's complaining about it. The second he retires, he's criticizing it.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Like, all those rules weren't set in place just to protect you, Tom.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I will say Josh Allen took advantage of that in this last game with the slide and the fake slide.
But the only, like, I don't like it in general because I think it really is like a bit ridiculous. But if the NFL wants to have this rule of like protect the quarterback all that much, I can almost tolerate it if they did not distinguish between who the quarterback is, because damn well if you're a Brady or Rodgers or now a Mahomes, it takes less for you to draw a roughing than it does for a random quarterback. It's just a fact. That's the truth. And you can see it on display all the time. Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford got hit in ways that would have been a roughing 10 times over had it been Mahomes.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the only problem. You can set the rule however you want, but clearly some animals are more equal than others. That's the problem about the situation.
Like those,
that's really shame.
Those side by sides back in the day of Andrew Luck and Tom Brady and how they're treated.
Yeah, those guys. That is the issue. So that's something that needs to be fixed.
CJ might be that next guy. CJ Stroud might be the next guy that gets protected by the league because he has a following at this point, and if he continues winning like this, he might be the next Mahomes in popularity, at least.
Okay. Well, there's a guy called Brock Purdy who's got an even better story because he's Mr. Irrelevant. He's going from Mr. Irrelevant to Mr. Relevant.
I get it, and I understand that, and that's a phenomenal feat, being that much of an underdog. And if you go to a Super Bowl and you win a Super Bowl, yes, that's an awesome feat, and the world will celebrate. But the NFL is not going to protect Brock Purdy like that.
No, once he signs that $200 million contract, they are.
Wow, that's a big contract.
That's a big contract.
What are you thinking? Like 5 years, $200 million?
I mean, he's got 2 more years on his rookie deal, right? So assume they write it out by that time, and quarterback market, he plays 2 more years the way he did this year. I'm thinking 5-6 years, probably 300 at the time.
Wow, yeah.
He plays like that. Yeah, he's gonna get paid. He's gonna get paid like no one's gotten paid before.
Well, maybe they'll start protecting him then.
Then they'll protect their money. They'll protect the big contract. Yeah, that's what they're protecting. Yeah. Big and long-term contracts, because you need those. Absolutely. And by the way, if you want to hear a bold prediction, which isn't even bold if you really look at it, Brock Purdy is not going to the Super Bowl just once. Let's keep it at that. By the time he's done playing, he will have been there several times. I'm not committing to a number, but it's higher than one.
Now, I'm going to say this because I've heard a prediction kind of like this before, and it involved a guy named Jimmy Garoppolo. We're not going to pull the Jimmy Garoppolo again, are we?
So, okay.
If you remember right, I was promised that we were going to get Garoppolo versus Mahomes back to back.
I was prepared for this.
Yeah.
I was prepared for this exact rebuttal, and that's why I looked back at exactly what I said. I said before the Niners-Chiefs Super Bowl, I said this is not the last time these teams meet in the Super Bowl. That's what I said. I said we will see this again soon, and it could be as soon as this year. I don't think I committed to Garoppolo and Mahomes. Well, I said Niners and Chiefs in the next decade are playing again.
If I remember correctly, you committed to it happening 2 seasons in a row. We had a monster bet on it or something.
Oh, did we have to look that up? Maybe I bet on it, but I don't think it was like a guarantee. It was like, at the time, it was the most likely outcome, obviously, but then Garoppolo gets hurt every other year, so really, it was stupid of me to do that anyway. Let me look that up. We haven't looked at our bet sheet for a while anyway.
Yeah.
Let's see when
that happened. Hey, at least the 49ers haven't fallen off. I would have thought that's for true, sure. Huh? The Falcons were going back to face the Patriots again the next season, but it ended up being the Eagles, and then the Falcons went down the toilet after that season.
Oh yeah, you're right. I did say that Super Bowl 55 would be Niners-Chiefs rematch. That did not happen. Jimmy got hurt. It was the Bucks and the Chiefs in that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Tom Brady ruins happening everything.
Again. Yep. It is happening again, and it's going to be Brock Purdy.
All right. Well, it might happen. You might be onto something.
I have to go through these bets. There's some that are still open that I have to look up who actually won. It's been a while. I remember to save that. All right. I think we talked enough about these games. Do you have anything to add?
No, that's it for this week. Yeah.
All right. So just a reminder, next week, of course, predictions for the championship games. And then the week after that, I guess we'll do NFL honors. We'll do our awards. Maybe we can look back at our pre-season award predictions, see what we got right, if anything, and what we got wrong. And then give our real NFL Honors Awards and expectations of NFL Honors, which is going to be happening on Pro Bowl weekend. Can't wait for that. As of now, drop us a like on the video and leave us a comment. Tell us what you think about these 4 games. Do you see any upsets, or are you picking all home teams? Of course, the status quo right now, pick all home teams unless it's Dallas. No upsets so far in this playoff season, if you could call the Bucs an upset. Let us know what you think about it, who you're picking. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Deuces.